I normally come a little bit early when I'm going to speak, just to listen to the 5 minutes of the last speaker so that I can be sure that I flow with what the last speaker has said. Otherwise, you may say things which contradict what he or she said. But I think I got a sense that we are aligned. She was speaking about creating an organization that enables high performance. And they've done studies and research that indicates the high performance organization. Now, I'm going to talk about leaders who actually are responsible for creating that environment. They can either destroy that environment that is conducive for growth and learning and high performance, or they can enhance it. But I'm going to, sometimes when you want to get a message through, it's better to talk about what it is not. So I want to talk about bad habits of leaders. And through that, I'll show you my story and the type of leaders that have actually led me, that actually were bad, some were good. And in the process, I want you to make sure that you yourself, and I'm very proud of you. Again, when you're doing an MBA, when I look at you, I actually become nostalgic, because once upon a time I was sitting on here, and that was 26 years ago. Now, some of you were toddlers.
The same hat.
No. My grandson now, I've got a grandson who's 7 years. He wears a hat like that because the grandfather wears the hat. He thinks it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, and I've traveled this 26-year journey. This 26-year journey started me. And I've been in the energy industry for 26, for 3 decades, basically. And my journey started at Shell. And there was your age. And so we basically learned a lot from the leaders of that time. And then from there, after doing an MBA, I was so confident about it, having had 8 years experience of, I was on the retail side and oil industry, so I was building all the Shell service stations at that time. And then I did MAP, and then I did MBA, same university. And then after MBA, I had 2 pieces of papers that I just wanted to check whether they were worth a piece of paper on which they're written. One was an MBA certificate, and the other one was a CV. Are you with me? So I wanted to check whether they are worth a piece of paper on which they are written. So there was an opportunity to start a company called Excel Petroleum. How many of you remember it? We sold it many years ago. I was part of that team that started the organization. My mandate when we started, I was focusing on building the retail service stations. And so you saw the mushrooming. And then it took us 7 years. It was the best time of my life because it was an entrepreneurial season. Living a very great big job. By the time I left Shell, I was a regional manager, retail. That was a big job at that time. Having an office, it was a big office, and having all the secretaries and support and that you have of a big organization. Now I'm going to help start a new small company. Then after 7 years, it was a great journey, of just starting from scratch, buying furniture, employing people, and building a team. And then finally we get it into the normal, as you probably have learned now. You storm first, and then you norm. And then you finally perform, And then we will perform high-performing team. In 7 years' time, we were able to build just under 200 service stations. I remember that was the Shell leader at that time couldn't believe what was being achieved. And then obviously, I think the timing was right. Sasol Oil wanted to enter the industry. They were already our partners, but small stakeholder in the game. And Sasol wanted to enter the retail network. Most of you would not know now. You just see the retail service station of Sasol. But Sasol never had service station before. They had a blue pump in every service station. So that's how, and then when they bought us, that was their way of getting into the retail market. And then I thought they will because I was the CEO of Excel at that time. I thought they'll bullet me because every business school book tells you when you acquire the company, the first thing you need to do is to take out the CEO of the company acquiring because you want to change the company. But thankfully, they kept me to run Excel within as a division of Sasol Oil, which is a subsidiary of the Sasol Group. And I ended up, actually ended up running Sasol Oil, the company that acquired us. So I ran Sasol Oil for 4 years. And then that 4 years, that's when you started seeing all the service stations of Sasol. That was my project. So next time you fill up at the Sasol service station, just, just remember, I've left Sasol, but I still fill up there because I tell it's just, you know, when it's you play the critical role in giving birth to something, you get emotional attached to it. And then, then they asked me, no, now you need to chair the Sasol Oil Board. So I've been chairing the Sasol Board until I retired there. And then at the same time, while chairing the Sasol Oil Board, they asked me then, promoted me to become one of the group executives, and I was looking after the energy business. We use the American nomenclature in terms of our title, so I was what we would call EVP, Executive Vice President, Energy Business. So I look after the whole energy portfolio of Sasol. Sasol's got two businesses. One is chemical business, and then energy business. And then I look after the energy business, so it means the whole of Sasol Oil, Sasol Gas, Sasol Electricity, renewables, and all our joint ventures all over the world that we have where we're doing any form of energy. Whether it's Nigeria, Qatar, I spend a lot of my time in the Middle East. So in this process, I learned a lot of things. I read a lot about leadership, and because I'm a real student of leadership, and I insist that you study leadership, because leadership makes or breaks everything. And leadership matters. And you are groomed to be a leader. And you're going to be, do you believe that you're going to be running as a CEO of a great company? Yes. Do you really believe that? It's important that you believe. Do you believe that you can run a global company? You will run a global company. Do you believe that you can start your own business that becomes a global business? Do you believe that? I believe that you can do that. So in advance, I'm clapping hands for you. So the reason I'm here is to tell you the bad habits that will retard you from achieving your goal. Are you with me? So that you immediately get rid of them while you are here. And when you see them in your life, you can get rid of them so that you can reach your goal, which we've just talked about and spoke it into being, okay? Are you with me? All right. Let's start with the first one. Winning too much. If you're talking about leadership, your job is to do win-win partnerships so that they are sustainable for a long, long time, beyond your tenure as a leader. Sustainability of your business is critical. So don't add too much. Take notes of these very important points that we're mentioning here. Chiefs, now this thing has changed course. Okay, let's use that. The second one is winning too much. That was the first one. I'm going to combine both of them with adding too much value. So you win too much, it's not good. Are you with me? The same when you're dealing with your customers. Don't take advantage of the fact that, you know, during the PPE, PPE price just went through the roof. You know? Just don't try to win too much. And again, just got it. You don't have to win at all costs in all situations, when it's even besides the point. And the second one is adding too much. And this shows when people are speaking, and you always want to be the last one who adds your 2 cents value. Come on. We know you're smart. Just relax. Chill. Are you with me? And you see leaders like that. They want to have the last word. Now let's move on. Passing judgment. Now it's important that as a leader, and this I'll tell you also a story. I'll tell stories where you rate people, where you just enjoy rating people and just sizing them up very quickly. You know, when we're young, you know, yeah, kind of thing. You're rating people. You just have this. That, I don't mean that it is wrong to evaluate performance, measure it based on the criteria we've agreed on, based on the targets, but to set standards that and then you impose on people, not in an agreed way, you're not going to create a performance team. Eh? You're going to be seen as a judge. You're not a judge when you're a leader. There's judges out there. Yours is to coach, mentor, and make sure people deliver on their results. So rating people is there. I'll tell you a story. When I was a youngster, they relocated me down to KZN, and I was young. They realized they've done their assessment. And by the way, write these 3 words, these 3 things. It's important when you assess if you have not done it, you must go and do it to check what your own cognitive quotient. Write it down, cognitive quotient. And those things make you succeed as a leader. Drive quotient, that means, and then emotional quotient. There's different languages they use here. Sometimes they call IQ, but that's cognitive quotient. It means you must have your mind. You must have a little bit of gray matter in your head. The fact that you're sitting here, have been selected, it means your brain is gray. Are you with me? And thank God for that, because it's normally a gift. Are you with me? And then the second one is just the drive, the grit. And the third one is obviously your emotional stability. Now here am I, I'm a youngster. They have done that assessment in my organization. They realize this guy, he's got a potential to be a leader and will probably reach that level of CEO. If you haven't done it for yourself, go and do it. If your company hasn't done it, you do it so that you can start developing these 3. So what they needed to really get me to understand, which is a bucket of experience, was to take me to see whether I've got grit and I've got emotional stamina. They sent me to the worst boss in KZN. And first, relocating is the most painful thing. I mean, I was staying here in Katlo, I'm married here, all my family is here, and the whole community support is here. And you know, all the infrastructure that you need. As a young family, I had 2 little kids at the time. Boom, relocating me to KZN. And get me to Paul Parker, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, but he was a short guy. And they made a mistake of not even informing him that they've already selected me. So a week before I have to relocate, they said, no, because he was complaining. And they said, please go and have an interview with a guy called Paul Parker. He's now the regional head of KwaZulu-Natal business. And I was going to come in and become a regional property manager there because I was building service stations. And you can imagine, you walk in the first meeting with this guy, your landed friend, and he says, oh, is you Maurice? Okay, I heard about you. Let me tell you the truth. They didn't even tell me that you're coming. I've just been told by head office. And I don't know you from the bow soap. I mean, I thought I'm coming from for an interview. But anyway, the head office has decided, so when are you coming? I said, next week. He said, okay, come. That was the end of the interview, yeah? That was a bad start. I go back home and now I could pack all my things and I think to my wife, hey, I met this guy. I'll show you that type of a leader, that type of a leader who was passing judgment. In his mind, in his heart, is that I am here, and just during the dark days of apartheid, during that time, so he's this black guy. He's probably useless. They're just doing him a bloody favor because, you know, he's part of a family action and that kind of thing. He had made up his mind, and he wanted to prove that that it is true. I come back, it doesn't even worry me, whether I've landed safely, whether I've found a location, You know, you could find a house and all those kinds of things, dealing with HR. And then the amount of pressure he put on me for 3 years, I mean, it was hell. He would just say, I want this thing. Monday morning, Friday, I want it on my desk. I thought I'm coming here to learn. I'm a youngster. You know? I had to, listen, you know, I had to learn property very quickly. Because I was expecting him to teach me how to draft a lease if you're leasing the property, how you acquire property. I had no clue what a servitude is. I had no clue what a mortgage bond on the property is. I had no clue how to register property. I had no clue about notarial police. I had no clue about finding the architects to actually design it. I had no clue how to manage them. He just threw me in a deep end. And he just thought, let's see, he's going to sit. In fact, I don't want him, because he's not going to make it. Are you with me? I promise you, quickly I realized I don't know anything about property. I registered quietly with my own money an estate agent course. Look at me, I'm a qualified estate agent. I can sell your house. I did that course at night. So that when I woke in the morning and he started using this terminology without me, he was so surprised. Servitude, yeah, I know we can register. How is it registered? Yeah, notarial lease, go. Yeah, no, don't worry. And then what did I do? I retreated from him because he was venomous. And I developed my team. And there was somebody in your team would be so gracious. There was a guy called Gary, he was gracious. He said, I'll show you how to run the financial model of how to justify a service station, the whole case study, the whole business case that he did. He taught me that. He was my subordinate, and I submitted myself under him to learn, because I had a boss that was very judgmental. I promise you. Many times I went back home, tears, because that guy had belittled me. And his intent was to destroy the inner confidence and the potential that I had. And the aim was to stifle it so that I do not rise above him. Are you with me? After 3 months I remember asking him, simple thing. You know, I would walk into his home and say, listen, and I need to go to somewhere. He says, come on, figure it out, man. Just get into it. After 3 months of that intense cooking pot pressure, thank God there was emotional resilience on me. And by the way, I had no choice. Got 2 kids, relocated, sold my house in Spruitview. I used to stay in Spruitview at that time. I'm here now. And to go back to Joburg having failed after 3 months, it's just not going to work. So I had my back against the wall. The only way was to drive, stamina, great. After 3 months, he calls me into his office. He says, sit down. I said, he said, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I had my prejudice on you. I thought you're going to crack. I thought you're not going to make it. And I actually I'll be honest with you, I wanted to really put pressure on you so that you crack. But you haven't cracked. From now on, let me give you a round of applause and let's shake hands together. We're going to be friends and work together today. From then onwards, we work like that. And he revealed his prejudice when we were now doing presentations in Cape Town and we were traveling together. And then one day he was sitting and he actually said, we were sitting in the back of a car which was driven by our drivers there. They said, I never in my life thought I'll be sitting in the back of a car with a black African. Because the perception I had is my gardener. Are you with me? So whatever judge meant as a leader, and there's all of us have got prejudice. That's why we're talking inclusion now. Could be women. The other day my daughter was talking to me that Now there's even accent discrimination. Are you with me? Mawukhuluma isilungu saseSoweto. And the Model C is English. So there's so much prejudice. 2 black kids come in, one comes from a Model C or St. Francis, Saints, one of these Saints schools. And the one who grew up in a rural area speaking English Kaspedi, you know. Yeah, you say, are you shaking it? Can't I'm talking about Kaspedi. You get excluded. So that's why we're talking inclusion. We're talking all forms of discrimination, gender-based, religion, sexual orientation must be gone. That's your job as a leader. If you want to create a performance-oriented environment and a team that is performing, remove all forms. Write that one down. Remove all forms of discrimination. Let people feel embraced. Let people feel valued. That one the lady said there on that. Let them people feel valued. There's few people who've got that grit that, by God's grace, I had to survive Paul Parker. I met him when he's an old man. We met we were NetBank playing, and I went to him and says, Paul, hey, yeah. He says, yeah, Maurice, I see your career is going well in the oil industry. And I said, and I was grateful. I said, hey, thank you, Paul. And that cooking pot you put me actually stretched me very hard. Are you with me? And it showed me that I can do beyond what I expected that I can. Are you with me? So put yourself in a pressure cook. And that's why an MBA will put you in a pressure cook deliberately. But we're not going to be like, but we're going to push you in a pressure cook because we want you to stretch you. Are you with me? And please don't give them any chance. They have to. And there's 3 types of pressure cook here. First is assignments and to make sure you deliver, and all the lecture hall Saturday you're here. The second one, syndicate work, where you learn. The pressure cook that we put you on assignment and hard work, a lot of things to read, articles and all that. It's because you want to see whether you can put 6 or 7 balls in the air, because you need that when you're a leader. The second one, when syndicate, we want to teach you team playing. The third one, when you have to finish your research project, is to see whether you're going to be able to work and finish. Are you a finisher? And let me warn you right now, most of my students in my class did the coursework but didn't finish the assignment. You have got to promise me you're going to finish your research project. Are you going to do that? Yes. Okay, I got to go to commitment? No, raise the hands. Okay, all right. The second one, I already made this point. There's no need to use foul language, sarcasm. You know, as a leader, what you need to do, I stop it all the time. When I get into a committee meeting or on a board meeting and the F word and the B word is used, and I'm not going to pronounce them here, when somebody's speaking, what you're saying is B. You know? And then there's an F word just like, hey. I say, ooh. Let's have a decorum of this board meeting. The decorum. Let's use language. You know my PA, who's now retired, she's in her 70s, that I worked with. She still helps me even today. As I said, they run a leadership foundation called Unleashing. She's there. She's just doing voluntary work. And she says to me, and this is a white lady, Cheryl. When she worked for me for the first time, she was a never-wreck. Because she says, her boss, whenever she made a mistake, would use every foul language that she can. Every sarcasm that she would. And I worked with her, create an environment which made her talent, her gifts to shine. And even today, she phones me and says, I'm retired. What do you want us to do? Because now on a voluntary basis. Because you can destroy people with very destructive language, cutting remarks, you know, and because you want to sound smart, because you're a leader. Let me write this down. If you're a leader, particularly an entrepreneur, make it intentional that you're not the most cleverest person in the room. Are you with me? Surround yourself with people who are much more clever than you in their field. Are you with me? You're going to be a CEO. I need to have agreed. AB, Marjorie, you're going to be a CEO. Don't surround yourself with people in marketing that are cleverer than you, in supply chain that are cleverer than you, in technical and science, R&D cleverer than you. Because somebody is redundant in that team. Are you with me? Yours is to develop the vision together with them, develop the mission together with them, and for then onwards, develop the strategy together with them, and then hold the line. Are you with me? And hold each one accountable. But they must be smarter than you. Are you with me? I've seen too many leaders who actually employ people who are less than them in their talents. And by definition, the whole organization's average become mediocre. Are you with me? Leadership rises the organization. If you as a leader are not threatened, and you bring in on board people who are smarter than you and you give them a permission to express their view. Now, the leaders tend to have this kind of, when you speak, don't start with no pardon, however. And a person makes a suggestion and he says, yeah, but you know what? I hear you. And then you express your view. Or repeat what he has said so that it sounds as if it's your idea. Are you with me? However, if we do this that way, yeah, this is very, 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 very dangerous. You're creating a huge, it's actually what we call overuse of these qualifiers, which I am right, you are wrong. That's really what you're saying to a person. Are you with me? Be careful of that. When you start using too much however bad and you're talking to people, just be careful of that. And then telling the world how much you're smart. It's so natural as leaders, especially at MBA. Have you heard that expression? Which says, you know, how do you know somebody's got an MBA? Because he's going to tell you. He's going to tell you. He's going to tell you. When I was doing MBA, you know, listening to Nick Banadel, I was here when he was here. He used to walk up the class and yeah. Yeah, you can do that for MBA. Yeah, we'll give you that, but don't always tell people how they know. We know you're smart. You don't have to over-exaggerate that. You know. You don't have to. You really don't have to. Especially to your team. Are you with me? Because then they stop thinking. And then they rely on you to come up with answers. And trust me, when you create an environment, especially in a factory environment, I know because I once worked in the factory. And then and the guys that operate the machine, they know it. I work in Al Road. And they know the machine. They know it very well. And then you come there, you tell them how stupid they are, and you scream at them, and you are smart. Then they say, boss, we'll listen to you. Boss, they say, boss, do you tell us, boss? Tell us, boss. What do you do? Tell us, boss. Tell us, boss. Then they switch their thinking, but they're sabotaging you. And then when this is a real true story. Yeah, I won't mention the company, but I was working in it, a young star. I was working as a quality process control. You know, Mabefunu frustrator, if they want to frustrate you. You know, this machine is very simple. There will be a place where they'll put these sticks, matches, you know, a matchstick, and the machine says, stop. And then they'll stand there and say, maintenance! The machine is not working. And the engineers come. And they call it. Edra. But woza malamlela, bawuhlalela lapha. Sisibhemela ingwenya lapha, sisidlele lapha, sisithulele. Hlalela ngaphandle. The clever engineers will be trying to fix the machine, figuring it out. But everything is right, pressure, temperature, and the chemical mix-up is... After 3 hours, they'll come back and say, hey, maybe we can help, you know, maybe we can help. And then one of them will go close to the dodgy sticks, and the machine do. You see? Because you've told them they are stupid, they'll make you stupid. And the machine starts, and the production starts again, but 3 hours lost. Are you with me? I'm telling you real life stories of experience over the last 3 decades. Okay, where are we? Don't tell the world you're smart, man. And this is the one. And I want you, don't speak when you're angry. Just hold yourself. And the more important, don't use emotional volatility as a management tool. There are managers who use their emotional volatility as a way of managing people and then rule by fear. My former boss, Parker. Because today I'm in rugby. Let's leave soccer. Let's not talk soccer because especially some of us who are favoring Orlando Pirates. Let's talk rugby. You know, today, because I was in KZN, I support Sharks. I was forced. Because my boss, at that time, the same guy I'm talking about, when Sharks has won, that Monday morning, woo, party time. Hey, we'll all know, there'll be a beautiful atmosphere, you'll be coming, and they'll be enjoying it, everything. When Sharks has lost, also, Sharks has lost, you all have to duck and die. He used his own emotional volatility as a management tool. How many times you walk in, you walk on the left-hand side of the bed, and you come into the office and you project all your fights you had at home into your staff? You can't do that as leadership. Are you with me? Very important. I've seen too many leaders doing that. And I want you to stop that right now and make sure that if you are doing it, check your emotions. And then negativity. Doesn't mean because you couldn't do it, other people cannot do it. Are you with me? And you need to share negative thoughts even if you're not asked. You know, have you heard? Don't stay with negative people. If you've got a big dream, and there'll be people who say, but not, and they punch your dream, move away from that. Move away from that. You're young, you've got a right to dream. You've got a right to dream and dream big and fail big, but learn big also. That's what Royal Koza says. Are you with me? So nobody who's negative should ever destroy it. Even if it's your aunt. When I grew up, it was quite, and my aunt was actually honestly, sincerely wrong. I don't have a grudge with her. But there was a time where, when you reach standard, what is it now? Grade 8 or something, where you've got to choose whether you go to the math stream or you go to the, or general stream. Learn from the history, general stream. And I went to my aunt there, and I said, which stream should I? She said, what, you? Maths and physics don't even touch. You're not going to pass math 3. Because she didn't take the general stream. Are you with me? Her negativity nearly influenced me to take the general stream. I wouldn't be standing here if I did. Are you with me? But something in me said, let me take this challenge. I'm going to go into the maths and science stream. But her negativity. So I'm saying, even if it's your cousin, if it's your aunt, and sometimes your dad or your mom, because they haven't done it, they want to be negative about you. Have that dream, okay? Withholding information. Oh, this one is very, very dangerous. People use information as a source of power. In corporate, leaders in particular. You hoard information because you don't want people to learn because they're going to take your job. Anybody who holds information is a sign of insecurity. Are you with me? And again, here I've got a story. The reason I left that company in Al Road is purely because my boss then was a gentleman there. He's late now, may his soul rest in peace. I was in the laboratory and I would do all the experiment. And I was very excited as a young person. But he would withhold so much information. I'll get it through wholesale ways or means. But when and one of the points I'll mention here, but when I finalized that report and I submitted, you remember T-Pex? He will T-Pex my signature and put his signature on. Are you with me? I'm telling these things because they're real. And some of you may be in a space where you're doing them. Repent right now if you're doing it. and don't ever do them. Are you with me? Very important. Give information. In fact, these days information has been democratized now. Google is there. Everybody can learn from it. All right, we're coming close now. Inability to give praise. You know what? There's nothing as powerful as giving compliment to your team. Give them compliment. Find something to compliment somebody. And it must be authentic compliment. As a boss, it is your role to compliment people and make it your habit. The reason, in fact, I wanted to make that point, the reason I'm talking about habits, a habit actually if you do it frequent enough, it becomes your character, it becomes your nature. Are you with me? And that is why, if you've got these bad habits, you'll end up with bad character. And your bad DNA, bad being. If you do the opposite of everything that I've said here, you'll be a good leader, good character. Are you with me? It's a form of stealing if you don't give recognition. I've just given you an example where he T-Pex my name and put his name and submitted inside. It's only when I was resigning, they called me, the senior guys, and says, why are you resigning? I said, man, I don't get any feedback here, whether I'm doing well or right. The guy said, yeah, man, we're happy with you. I said, but no. I said, then I discovered that all these reports that I've submitted, now they're under his name. Then I actually walked out and I found another job. They lost the talent. And strange enough, not him, but the HR manager who was a big shot that was running that place. I met him in an aeroplane, we were all flying in Cape Town. And I sat next to him, I said, after I'd left, because then my potential went up, because I realized if I stay there, my potential is not going to. And I said, if I stay there in a company, do you think I'll be sitting next to you in an aeroplane here? So if you're in that environment right now, walk away from it. Okay? Because it's going to stifle your content. I walked away from it. I told the new MBAs, were you the ones who told the MBA there's 2 things you're going to change? I don't want to repeat something. I told you what you should change. It's your job. Keep your spouse. So I changed my job. Then, claiming credit you don't deserve. I mean, that's a most annoying way of overestimating your own contribution. There's this expression you must write it. Of failure is an orphan, but success is got many fathers and mothers. Are you with me? When it fails, the leaders run for cover. They look for scapegoats, bad leaders. And they want the sacrificial lamb who's going to take the fall. But good leaders take accountability. And when things succeed, good leaders say, it is not me, it is the team. Are you with me? Very important. In that way, then you create that organizational culture Dr. Manamela is talking about, organizational development. Because the impact of a leader on any culture is immense. Are you with me? The culture of an organization is determined by the leader. That is why this English expression says the fish start rotting where? In the head. The reasons we have so much corruption in this country is because it started at the leadership level. Are you with me? And you need to make sure it doesn't. And then, now almost makes excuses. First of all, you're not paid for excuses. You're paid for results. Okay? Let's be clear about that. But what I'm really talking about here is the need to reposition your annoying behavior as a permanent feature so that people can excuse you for it. Are you with me? You've got an annoying behavior, you know that you're annoying people, and then you say, no, it's me. You better accept me. You know? I can't change. You have to behavioral change if you're going to be a great leader. Behavior is more important than even your intention, your motive. Because it's what we see is the behavior. Are you with me? So don't ever excuse your annoying behavior. If you know you're annoying people and you use B word and F word and you say, just accept me, it's me, I've learned about it, you know, I can't get rid of it, I'm just, If you report to me, you're out. Are you with me? So don't you do that. Because you're going to create a toxic environment. And a toxic environment doesn't produce performance teams. And if you're doing all sorts, you know there's people who like to, it's their way, they gossip around, they are very divisive in nature. You know, you divide your own team, you know. You create a very toxic political environment, and you're not going to have a team that works. Are we okay? So don't make excuses for you. Just change, okay? This is important. All of us make mistakes, but there are leaders who refuse to express regret. Just to simply say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Learn that. It's powerful. It makes you even more powerful as a leader. It doesn't make you if you show your vulnerability to your team, you're teaching them a lesson that making a mistake is good as long as you learn from it. And you create that culture and the organization would. But if you've got this inability to take responsibility for actions and admit you are wrong and recognize how your being wrong affect other people's and acknowledge it and apologize, you're going to fail as a leader because you want to create an environment and an organization that learns. Sang and so talk about learning organization. And you are so instrumental in creating that by the one who says, listen, the decision I took last week after thorough research, after people have come and advised me, it was wrong. Let's change course. Are you with me? And I admit it and I take responsibility. Take accountability. If you demonstrate that, everybody will be able to say I'm wrong. Because if you hide your own mistakes and you don't want to admit, you're going to create a culture of everybody hiding their mistakes. In an environment in which I operate, we have to do that very much because it's an energy industry. There's plants there. You want people, when they perceive that they've made a mistake, And it's a plant that's got flammable products, gas, petrol, diesel. And if they hide that mistake, before you know, there's a fire that maims, kill, injure people. Because they were scared of admitting that they've made a mistake. But if you create that environment, the people come out and say, listen, I've made a mistake. This plant is going to be in deep, deep trouble. What do we need to do? Let's get all the PPE, let's get the Jew, let's get gas masks, tell everybody there's gas masks, quickly, put a siren, bang, you save lives. Are you with me? And then let's go to listening. I like the way it's expressed here. It's actually not listening when you're a boss. Somebody speaks to you and you're busy on your computer. Somebody makes a presentation, you're looking the other way, and you, on your phone, you're taking your phone. And it is a young person who comes in here as a young leader. He spends the whole weekend preparing a presentation for you, and you come there, and you just look at them, they present, you're just busy. It's a form of aggression. Are you with me? As a leader, you need the most affirming thing you can do as a leader is to listen. And show you listening. And then engage people. Ask them questions. Even if you're listening something, you realize, sorry, it means he's off the mark. But listen. And then start saying, all right, if you say we should do this, have you thought about this risk? Have you thought about this risk? Potentially, and then you ask questions. And then the person will say, oh, no. I realize that. Now let me go and review that. That's fine. Are you with me? You've been listening. You don't say in the first 5 minutes, he's talking nonsense. Let me be busy on something. Because use every opportunity you meet your team member, individual one-on-one, as a learning experience. And as a learning moment. As a teaching moment. For you and for him or for her. It's so important. And then saying thank you. It's just good manners. It's nothing as powerful. Even on email, when somebody sends you something, says many thanks, so and so. Call them by their name. Have you seen those emails which are naked, Yeah. And it's got exclamation marks. And then from there, you also respond. And then from there, there's a fight in email. You go off email. Yeah? Stop it, man. Pick up your phone and speak to somebody. Or look at it face to face. You don't even acknowledge an email. Somebody writes you a good report and sends it to you. You don't even say thank you. These days, even this software even gives you, say great, You don't need to say great, and then leave. Or say yeah, happy with it. It gives you even to say thank you. Just use it. You'll realize how powerful it is. Acknowledge people. We've got a system here where there's an acknowledgement of birthdays. It comes from a system. There's a lady who does that. It'll send the system and says, Dr. Manamela, say happy birthday, and then it sends it to everybody. And then I've made it, even if I'm so busy, I would look at that, and then I would write my own letter, email, to that person as an individual, and says, Tobile, happy birthday. Blessings upon your life. It makes more sense than this big email that is going to everybody. But because it's coming from me as a leader, I get the feedback. That is amazing. The person would never have expected that I'll have the time to recognize their birthday. Not mass birthday, personal, individual. Are you with me? There's a lot you can do. So 3 words, I'm sorry, thank you, and great work you've done. Especially, thank you. Practice it right now. Say thank you. Practice it. Let it come to you from you as a leader. It's so powerful. A person goes up, jumping up and down. I mean, have you seen how when you say the little children, how they love that? Now, this is don't punish a messenger, okay? I'm passing. If you punish a messenger, people are not going to tell you the truth. They'll hide the truth. Are you with me? And I tell my staff, I don't want any surprises, please. If something is going to happen that is going to be wrong, tell me up front so that we can take action. But if somebody comes and tell you a message and then you're angry with them, they'll learn very quickly. You don't tell them bad news. You only tell them good news. And bad news, when things explode, you're going to full of agony. Passing your buck, the buck stops with you. When you go out there, you take the accountability. It's only when you're together in your room to somebody one-on-one, and he says, but you messed up here. Are you with me? Buck stop with you. This thing of blaming others, I've already spoken. And this excessive need to be me. You know, it's me. You know, I grew up in this environment. You know, it's got a sense of entitlement. Are you with me? We all grew up in townships and rural areas, okay? So the fact that we grew up in poverty, hey, get over it, man. The fact that, you know, somebody told you you're stupid, get over it. You're not. Are you with me? Don't take your faults. Some people have got factory defaults, you know. Factory fault, you know, factory fault. There's a young boy, you know, I met a lot of young people, and he had such arrogance, this young man. And I said to one of my friends, he's one of my factory faults. Because he's just so arrogant. It's unbelievable. So it's to now take your faults and make them virtues. That's not acceptable, okay? Exalting our faults as virtues simply because we want to exemplify who we are. I'm not saying don't be authentic. Be authentic, be an authentic leader, but truly don't, if it's a vice, don't make it a virtue that we must also accept. Are you with me? It's a vice, it's a vice. Period. Go and change. Clinging to the past, it's a way of blame shifting. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a poor family. I didn't go to school. And yes, I'm not promoting any form of abuse. But we all grew up in an environment that was dysfunctional, you know, in some form or shape. And don't stay in the past. Are you with me? Because when you blame the past all the time, we all grew up in apartheid. And some of us experience it firsthand. Are you with me? A Teflon where we grew up. I mean, the fact that this guy's teaching is a miracle. I'm telling you, it's a miracle. When you get in the first year, you are 300, and the lecturer walks in and says, next year half of you will be gone. Yeah, first day. We had a registrar called Johnson. I did maths. Was the lecturer called Johnson? Johnson. He used to wipe us out. I did physics. And I'm not saying this in an arrogant way. I'm actually regretting and with pain. Because I remember, boy, when we were registering, he was smarter than me. He had straight A's in the matric. We did physics together. He failed it first year. Second year, we're 16. Third year, we're 2. How can that be? That's what we mean when we say. So when I'm saying so, don't cling to the past. You can't go through. You can't go through. That is why, and then leaders will play favorites, man. Don't play that. You create politics in your team, and the team is not going to operate well. So finally, I'm concluding now. Thank you very much. I just want you to take, I've spoken on lots of things here. Take one or two and just work on them and change your life. Because it is so important that you take one or two of these, work on them over these coming weeks, and then have a mentorship kind of role or deliberate journaling it and make sure you work on these bad habits because it will improve your leadership. Again, I want to repeat, you are going to be the greatest leaders on earth. You're going to lead big companies. You're going to lead this economy. You're going to transform this economy. We need you. We need you so desperately. But we don't need you with these bad habits. We need you with good habits. And this nation will be a great nation. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you.